Indian Como. I think it is the second round of games beating me to dry in the quarterfinals of the UEFA Champions League. I beat me Abono and then you're better. Enra, I think the 2 games it's me Corso, it be Corso Allianz Arena, and it be so Corso Emirates Sports Stadium. But then so do we need PMO the side of Allianz Arena, the side of Inter Milan to be PMO in our way zone. Share, Bayern Munich Football Club by 2-1. And Ramijina had a lot of things about Simeone Inzaghi, how he actually do his transition, making sure say he will place that 3-4-3 and sometimes the 3-5-2 system with him blending and making sure that he can easily score a lot of goals pertaining the kind of attackers who beat him into the attacking third for Inter Milan. But also catch us a Bayern Munich Football Club. His own company has changed his tactics, and then ever since he changing the tactics, he has been able to revisit that kind of magical squad with him for Julian Nagelsmann. During the time I know Okuchi at the side of Bayern Munich, he has actually learned that kind of tactical formation from the side of Julian Nagelsmann under the time of Bayern Munich. But then we saw a lot of things. Papa is a recent company. It's me editorial at the side of Bayern Munich as compared to Simeone Inzaghi. When you compare these particular 2 coaches, they are different coaches altogether. One with that kind of Italian tactics, and Barca also with that kind of the Spanish and then that kind of Belgian tactics, because of say, a student of total dominance footballer or Pep Guardiola. And when you compare these kind of 2 coaches, Barca more possession oriented football. Now Barca also a typical in that particular midfield, making sure say we transition in this particular current Champions League. But Enra now Bayern Munich for to share Inter Milan. Also say in this particular championship now when I say in the competition, Inter Milan has conceded just 3 goals in all other games to beat my final themselves, and they've been able to score close to about 17 goals currently as we speak. So they don't score more goals, but then they concede less goals. So 3 goals per the last 11 matches in this particular competition. They've conceded just 3 goals, and they've actually scored 15 goals. Whilst the side of Bayern Munich Football Club has scored 29 goals, and they've conceded just 16 goals on that particular Champions League competition here. But it tells you say Bayern Munich Football Club they concede a lot of goals. When you can easily propel a lot of attacking side for against the side of Bayern Munich, you can easily score against them in any other competition. You can easily find us. But this was the starting lineup for the side of Bayern Munich Football Club. And or no a particular deep line playmaker, but everyone Mekacho say he will start young Goretzka and the Joshua Kimmich in the midfield. So Kovalema became that kind of right full back position for the side of Vincent Kompany on right here on your tactical board. But Eric Dyer was that kind of right centre back original at the side of Bayern Munich. Kim Min-jae was that left centre back on the side of Bayern Munich, and then Stanisic was that left full back with Timibo at the side of Bayern Munich. But baby, confusing me. I was actually thinking say he will either play Thomas Muller and now will be to say Michael Olise just for him to depend in the number 10 positional role, but then he decided to use Rafael Guerreiro to become that creativa in the attacking side of Bayern Munich. But there's also Rafael Guerreiro in his tactics, and a lot of versatility in the attacking line of Bayern Munich. Ever since he went in when the first starting lineup, he has been able to play as a right full back for the side of Bayern Munich, and then he has been able to also play as a deep line sitting playmaker, comparing himself to the side of Joshua Kimmich in the midfield. So he has played very position. But when it comes to the number 10 position role, it deals with a special talent for them to play in that number 10 positional role. You will have most of the players they actually flair, they have that particular flexibility, but if you play in that positional role and then you cannot create a lot of chances in attacking tier, that you are not qualified to play as a typical number 10 in that particular aspect. So I would check it in the side of Inter Milan, almost midfielders, all those we're done 2 fullbacks to become a wing back supporting the midfield of Inter Milan. Matteo Darmian and then Carlos Augusto are these 2 fullbacks, as somehow they become wing back supporting the side of Nicolo Barella and Hakan Kalhoglu and then Henrik Mkhitaryan, or no ball as a traditional number 8, and then Mekacho so ball as a half traditional number 8, and then sometimes when he progresses the ball beautifully into the attacking zone and as into the attacking zone of Inter Milan, he does it so well. So as a typical number 10, just to support Lautaro Martinez, who will sometimes drop in deep to support Henrik Mkhitaryan, and Marcos Thuram will become become the classical striker who will lead the attacking third for Inter Milan with that particular moment where Enra they did so well. Marcos Thuram will try to torment the two center backs, Kim Min-jae and Eric Dyer. Will make sure say Lautaro Martinez will find each and every space to actually progress the ball into the attacking third. And when they did that, Lautaro Martinez was able to score the early goal for the side of Inter Milan. Even when at the time Henrik Mkhitaryan and we saw the video Frantesi, that boy from Sassuolo, about the side of Inter Milan, also a proper ball career progressor. When he came in, he was able to bank in that particular late goal for the side of Inter Milan. But we'll check about the starting lineup in the defensive structure. Benjamin Pavard in that particular left center back, the side of Federico Akebi as a main sweeper, and then Alejandro Bastoni at that particular right center back on Ujida Hodema, the side of Inter Milan. They make sure they will compete enough for Papa, your friend say Harry Kane, Leroy Sané, and Michael Olise, just not for them to depict in most of these half spaces. Vincent Kompany, Etaskin, boys, and so Mutiminye, and from the side of Bayern Munich, and they were able to grab most of these spaces, making sure some will defend here. They will not defend in the 3-4-2-1 system, but they will defend in the 5-3-2 system. They will make sure that they will play in the low build-up and also in the low compactable block for the side of Inter Milan. And defensive structure, and they did so very well to hold this number of attackers who make a lot of goals for them. So, and they did very well. But then the big game no course were Emirates. And Obia to me can once say make Jaka say over 2.5, and the Real Madrid Football Club is going to score that over 2.5 goals. But it's me 10 here. Arsenal to me share 3 goals to against the side of Real Madrid Football Club. But Tama Madrid, I mean, you show we are Madrid at the almost first starting lineup. Ever 2 gentlemen who said no. At the end, Carlo Ancelotti, will preview a lot of things for Mikel Arteta to thrive on. And now Mikel Arteta for the first time, one more the 4-3-3 system, no, because he wanted to know, say, when you are playing against the side of Real Madrid Football Club, you need to have a different strategy just to pull the Papa friends Vinicius Junior and Kylian Mbappe. Sometimes Rodrigo de Guez back, because when you are talking about this particular competition, Kylian Mbappe has scored the same goals as compared to Vinicius Junior, and Rodrigo de Guez has also scored just 5 goals with so many assists in this particular competition. If you want to pin them, you need to find a particular strategy. A bit more pinning these attackers, a bit more opposite in their own midfield for the side of Real Madrid Football Club, and he did so well by making sure say Obetima with Jacob Kiwo as that particular right center back. William Saliba partnership was very excellent, and Thomas Partey came into the party to actually defend and even make sure that in the defensive structure now he will become that kind of inline generator who will also protect the defensive structure of Arsenal Football Club very. And Declan Rice was able to free up into the most of the spaces. Martin Odegaard together with Declan Rice into the attacking third were doing the magic for the side of Arsenal Football Club. But when Arsenal is actually transition, you wouldn't get that Arsenal Football Club in the starting lineup. No more about the 4-3-3 system, Skelly or no more in that kind of left full back position for Arsenal. But you get Skelly who will come in as an inverted midfielder just to support Thomas Partey in that particular midfield. When he does that, you will see that Declan Rice will be free up to join that attacking third of Arsenal Football Club. Now Martin Odegaard so to take the shape in the right midfield. When he takes the shape in the right midfield, they will try to create a lot of overloads over here in the right midfield, because almost Trent and Bukayo Saka will try to make a lot of runs in the right midfield for the side of Arsenal Football Club. So this was the exact moment I was talking about. So you get 3 back. This is Thomas Partey, and this is Skelly, and this is Thomas Partey. So Thomas Partey will be just opposition in the base of that particular centric midfield, and Skelly will be that main deep line actor or best support to Thomas Partey. Just for him, so Thomas Partey loses the ball now. The first recovery shadow in the midfield will become Skelly, who will recover the balls for Thomas Partey to progress the ball in line for the side of Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, and even Gabriel Martinelli for them to actually transition the ball into the attacking third. So they try to pin a lot of things for the side of Real Madrid Football. So Hanosha, Madrid air dominating in the centric midfield, but then Madrid air dominating the centric midfield. The side of Arsenal air dominating numerical superiority into the attacking third, because the moment a Madrid 4 players by Madrid, so or maybe in the central midfield, it will be very difficult for them to recover, because this time around they are playing the 3 back, and the 3 back is the high defensive line on the side of Arsenal Football Club. This is the exact moment. So right now, Arsenal able moving from that particular central midfield, trying to pin in the halves of Arsenal, and they will create a lot of overloads over here. So count the number of Arsenal players over here. It's about 6 players or more as compared to Madrid 5 players or more into the zone 14 of Omankasa halves. It tells you, say, Arsenal Mikel Arteta made this particular strategic approach just to outclass Papa Efense Carleta in your tactical board. But when you check it right here, Madrid will try to form the pyramid shape in the midfield. But when they form the pyramid shape in the midfield, it made a lot of space over here in the left flanks of Arsenal Omankasa opposing half. So I'm calling the next picture. There is Papa Efense Thomas Partey and Enra. It's not about Declan Rice. Forget about Declan Rice scoring that 2 goals. Or to me direct the ball, or to me control the tempo, or to me control tempo, and to direct a lot of balls into attacking theater. It was a certain Thomas Partey. There is Thomas Partey, the controller in the midfield, and then he tries to progress the ball into the attacking third. When he does that, he has found a lot of space over here. Over here, before Semeba in the penultimate picture now, you can easily see, say, Papa Efense and Carlo Ancelotti depending most of his balls in the centric midfield, but then we'll leave it out in that particular left flanks of Omankasa halves. And Thomas Partey, as an technical player, will try to channel most of his passes into the left flanks of Arsenal. Omankasa opposing half. One more it is Gabriel Martinelli and also Dawo, and you get Skrell also adjoining the Papa Efense Gabriel Martinelli in that kind of left wing forward for the side of Arsenal Football Club. When he does that, I say Hanum right flanks Sanmo Daho. So Omentimian channel a lot of passes and fan call the left flanks of Arsenal opposing half, but they will channel that kind of passes into the right flanks of Arsenal Omankasa opposing half. But picture where that's we tells you baby Arsenal for me a lot of progressions and if you want a delay with their strength, baby Makalaho Green is about the strength play of Arsenal Omankasa, a lot of transition into the attacking third. Arsenal, it depended in the 4-3-3 wide shape, in the 3-4-3 defensive action for the side of Mikel Arteta. But when he is actually positioning, he actually finds himself in the vertical zone passing lane. So vertical zone passing, he get in line, say line at that straight to the attacking third. It tells Arsenal a progress, a lot of balls vertically, right from Thomas Partey to Declan Rice, and Martin Odegaard will create that magic with most of these balls a bit more into attacking third, and then he did it so well for them to score a lot of goals. But this is the space. Say Arsenal, it's me switching from the left flanks on man. They will switch a lot of balls into the right flanks for themselves. And over here, check out the number of players are or more Arsenal, or more right flanks. It's about 3 players as compared to 2 players are or more defending for the side of Real Madrid Football Club. It tells you say when they are actually controlling this kind of wings, it's either they move to the left, and it's either they move into the right zone of this particular country. But boss, and a big game meeting about Borussia Dortmund against the side of Barcelona. In the last 6 games of multimedia between these particular 2 football clubs, Barca had that upper hand on Borussia Dortmund, and as compared, Hansi Flick has been able to win all the games with multimedia against Borussia Dortmund, and even so, they are having top-notch striker in the sense of Sekou Guirassy, who has scored 10 goals as compared to Papa Rafinha, who has scored 11 goals this season in the UEFA Champions League. So these 2 big, top scorers in the competition this season, and Asia and then but then as always seen, Papa and friends say Hansi Flick will try to dominate in the Gengen press system of football in that particular man with about Frankie de Jong and Pedri. So we'll check it into the attacking theater. Rafinha, Femi Lopez, and Lamine Yamal will lead the attacking front for the side of Barcelona Football Club, and Robert Lewandowski will try to lead the attacking role for the side of FC Barcelona. But the experience will count a lot in the FC Barcelona attacking front. But Borussia Dortmund, one kind of tactical lineup. They will mix Pascal Gross, they will mix Marcel Sabitzer, and they will mix Schlotterbeck in the defensive line up of Borussia Dortmund because of say Schlotterbeck that kind of a yellow card. Marcel Sabitzer and Pascal Gross will yellow card. One with a bit imagine FIFA what they are the side of Borussia Dortmund. And then last season was playing the 4-1-4-1 tactical flexibility for Borussia Dortmund. When he does that, or making sure that Papa and Emre Can will become a lonely pivotal midfielder in that particular midfield. When Nurus took over just early this season, he tried to bring the 4-2-4 similar formation with Luis Enrique of PSG Football Club. He does that so beautifully. But then Nico Kovac will try to bring in the gap and play the normal 4-2-3-1 tactical system of the Jurgen Klopp, and even Thomas Tuchel 3-4-3 system, and even as in the 4-2-3-1 system for the side of Borussia Dortmund. But then in the midfield, you should expect, any Papa said Chikumenga will become that 2 pivotal midfielders in the midfield, and then into the attacking tech, Karim Adeyemi will play in the right wing, and Julian Brandt will become an orchestra as a basic number 10 player for the side of Borussia Dortmund. And then I'm expecting. So if the FC Barcelona can easily win the game, but boss, so what should handle my own? But let me try DIABY kakra. Barca a fine unit in the defensive structure for themselves. Barca a progressive ball now. You will find a lot of movement and progressive ball in the low build up. They progress the ball in the low pressure build up just for them to attract a lot of pressure into the opposing halves. It will almost build it in a slow manner, but then they will attract a lot of players into their half. So a picture where that's now you get just about 4 players of FC Barcelona. A defensive zone, 14 zone or more progress and some more transition ball into the attacking third. And this was a clear game they played against the side of Real Madrid Football Club in the El Clasico. Check the number of players at Madrid for a players on me are dropping in deep and making some bit magic ball. Every power kubas in same. It was about 5 players as compared to the side of 4 players of FC Barcelona. When Barcelona bought the low pressure build up, they try to make sure that they will attract a lot of opposition players into their own defensive structure. No more but a long pass into the attacking third and into the attacking zone of FC Barcelona or Monca's attacking zone, because they have speedsters, they have wingers who have that particular place to run over the ball in the side of Lamine Yamal on the right, Rafinha on the left, and then you will get Obiti said Dani Olmo in the midfield, and even Robert Lewandowski, who will always be in the tip of that particular zone 14. When they does that, Lewandowski will drop it in deep just to support the midfield row, making sure Obed drop it up 8 men, making sure the center backs of these particular 2 opponents in the midfield but into the midfield, no matter long balls into the attacking zone. When they does that, Borussia Dortmund man show more defensive structure here, because this season only for Borussia Dortmund they've considered about 6 goals in the Champions League, whilst Barcelona has considered less. When you compare it to the Bundesliga this season, the side of Borussia Dortmund has considered close about 26 goals in the Bundesliga this season. It tells you say Barca actually a lot of goals in all other competitions. They can easily score a lot of goals, and then you Barca will win it to be over 1.5.
Mate, meda sepa yehweda yemrafi emedin komo kakra. Good afternoon, Abu. Please, I'm